So it's my pleasure to introduce you to my good friend as well, Scott English, who's also been the project manager for this specific project here at Blue Heron Park. Aha, you made it. Hello there, Senator Golden. Very nice to see you. I was going to read some stuff that you wrote, but maybe you can say it better. But we'll hold off for that. Okay, Scott, go ahead.
Thank you, Robert, for that introduction. I'm just going to start out with a big welcome. I know that this might be considered a pretty iffy day, but with a little bit of luck, we'll get through it. A little bit of sunshine, a little bit of rain won't hurt anything.
Louder.
Okay, so anyway, welcome, and thank you all for coming here to celebration the reconnection of Blue Heron Creek to Bear Creek. Okay, so now I'm getting some instruction how to use this mic. All right.
That's better.
All right, here we go. So anyway, thank you to all the members of Save the Phoenix Wetland who stood by this project, not quite knowing what the final outcome would be, and special thanks to Robert Coffan. He's basically the master of ceremonies here. He's a hydrologist and a cold water enthusiast and the major assistant in this project. And also thank you, a warm welcome to Wanda Borland. She's the videographer and social media person for this. Thank you, Wanda. And big hugs to my partner, Bonnie Morgan, and to my family and friends who put up with me throughout this epic 3.5-year-long project. Other thanks go out to Sarah Mosser, Rogue Basin Partnerships, Jeff Gertis, Dan Van Dyke, and Andrea Spirica, the ODFW, Linda Marr from the Watchful Wildlife Foundation, and we have here today is Bill Molnar. He's former Ashland Planning Director, Joey Howard, Project Hydraulic Engineer, Oregon Department of Transportation, the City of Phoenix, and we have with us now John Spees, Rogue River Watershed Council, Eugene Weir, Paul Kay, a local who's very supportive of this project, Oregon Garden Warehouse. They provide a lot of space for taking this berm material to. And finally, special thanks to Jim Governor of GT Excavation Team. And he and his team were really responsible for just making it happen on the ground with all their heavy equipment work. So if I will get into the mission. The vision of this project began in early 2022 after the Alameda Fire, which burned through the Bear Creek Greenway corridor of Talent and Phoenix, causing the loss of 3 lives and thousands of homes and businesses were destroyed. The fire burned much of the riparian corridor of Bear Creek, which included many areas along the creek that were overgrown with invasive blackberries and other plants. The fire exposed the springs, Blue Heron Creek, the rock berm, and opened my eyes to some ideas of restoring the burned riparian aquatic habitat and connecting Blue Heron Creek. During early 2022, I attended a meeting at the Phoenix Library where I met residents who were focused on saving a local wetland from development impacts. I happen to be familiar with the spring-fed wetland in question due to a couple of wetland delineation projects that I did in 2015-16 in Phoenix with my good friend and colleague Steve Koskela. After that initial meeting in Phoenix Library with a group that is now known as Save the Phoenix Wetlands, I joined the group and spent some time studying the springs, the little spring-fed creek. Excuse me while I flip the page. And that creek was unnamed at the time, but now we know that it's called Blue Heron Creek. It went through a very complicated local and state and federal naming process. And found out there was in the process, we're looking at a large rock burn that was blocking Heron Creek from directly connecting to Bear Creek. In 2022, it seemed easy to visualize the rock burn removal and the connection of Blue Heron Creek to Bear Creek. But boy, was I wrong. We started the project with a simple conceptual idea and sketches, and then the project took on a more serious tone as we obtained required permits from Oregon Department of State Lands, the Army Corps of Engineers, the State Historic Preservation Office, Jackson County, Rogue Valley Sewer Services, Oregon Department of Transportation, and the City of Phoenix. During this time, we completed several levels of volunteer design, and questions came up about finding a funding to plan. So we basically applied for a number of grants identified through the Fish and Wildlife, and we were granted a PFA grant from the Fish and Wildlife Department, as well as a Watchable Wildlife Fund grant, and both those applications were approved for funding. We began the implementation of this approved project on August 15th of this year and completed the construction phase on September 30th. The riparian restoration part of this project is being handled by the Rogue River Watershed Council, which will begin in early November and end during the fall of 2028. And John Spees will be the project manager for that part of the project, and he's here and we'll be speaking about that shortly. I will be available later on to answer the project. I've got some materials I'd love to share with you. And I just want to close in my remarks saying it's an honor to be with you today, and let's stay dry if we can. Thank you.